We are Ben, Jamie, Barry and Mike, the guys at the heart of sorted food. In this series of videos, we look at some of the most popular recipes that feature Lea Perrins Worcestershire sauce.
Beef lasagna is an Italian favourite.
But with a pair of us and a splash of Lea Perrins, we're going to give it our British twist. For the meat part of our lasagna, we need onion, carrot and celery first, and then we'll add in some pancetta for a smoky flavour before adding in the beef. We'll make a sauce out of tomatoes, red wine and of course Lea Perrins Worcestershire sauce. We'll also make a béchamel sauce from the milk and layer both of those up with lasagna sheets, cheese and fresh basil. So start off with an onion. Barry, if you can peel and dice that along with 2 cloves of garlic, if you can do those. I'm going to concentrate on the carrot and celery, which both need peeling and dicing too. But while we're working away with that, a splash of oil into our big pan. And what we'll do is begin to fry off our pancetta slices. So all going in there. Now this is with the Italian part of this dish, which is the sofrito. So that's a combination of onion, garlic, celery and carrot. What you're looking for is about an equal ratio of all three. So place all of those into there. Give it a good stir and cook over a pretty high heat for 5 minutes or so to soften all those up.
Hey, what do you think the Italians are going to think of us making this dish British? Are they going to mind?
Well, I think we've already, it's in the top 10 British dishes of all time anyway.
Everyone loves it.
We love it, every family makes it. And arguably, I heard they even found an old cookbook in the British Library that had layers of minced meat and pasta together.
You saying that this is already a British dish?
I was once told
the Italians stole it from us?
I was once told that, but I'm not saying that. I was once told, maybe.
British classic.
British classic using British beef, and that's what's going in next. Break it up slightly, keep it over that high heat. You want that beef to start to colour a little bit.
When I make this, I usually brown the meat off before adding it in.
Yes, traditionally you can, and the purists would say actually do that, fry it off, get a good colour, but I would argue when you're doing big quantities, we're putting so many flavours into this, it's an unnecessary step. And talking of all those flavours, we'll start with the tomato puree.
Yep.
And all of the rest of the tomato essence comes from 1 tin of chopped tomatoes. So next up, a glass of red wine. You'll notice we're putting all the liquid ingredients in at this stage. We're going to do a splash of our Lea Perrins, so 4 tablespoons of that. Very savoury flavour, quite salty, quite pickly, quite vinegary, and it really just lifts everything else out. If you can grab the kettle behind us, what we need to do now is make a quick beef stock. Into our tin, we need 200 ml, tin's 400, so if you go to about halfway, and all I'm going to do is crumble in a beef stock cube. And then, literally, that is everything good to go. So stir it all up. Keep stirring it and going back to it every sort of 15 minutes or so, but leave that to simmer gently for at least an hour, ideally an hour and a half to 2. You want all the liquid to reduce, the flavours to enhance, and the whole dish to come to life. In the meantime, we're going to keep you preoccupied with something else, and that's our white sauce. For the bechamel, what we need to do is warm the milk and infuse it with a studded onion. That's the bit you're going to do. So, 1 onion. If you can peel it, top and tail it, and cut it in half, but leave both halves whole, if that makes sense. And then what you're going to do is take these cloves. Now these are quite strong in flavour. You only need a couple of them, but basically it's studding an onion and it's pushing the cloves into the onion, like that, couple in each half. And then this goes into our milk as it warms up and gives it a kind of infused flavour.
Okay.
Along with 2 bay leaves. And while we wait for that to warm up and infuse, we can start our roux. So that's equal ratio of butter and flour. So they're going to go in, and then we'll just melt that down. As soon as that's melted, we can add in our flour. And together that kind of makes a paste, which is the basis of our roux, bechamel or white sauce. So you see it thickens up pretty quick, and you want to cook it over that heat for a minute or so, just to get rid of some of that raw flour taste. And remember the key to a perfect bechamel sauce?
Yes. Are you telling Ben?
Do you want to try?
Pour a little bit at a time. Got to get it right.
Why?
Because otherwise it gets too lumpy.
Yes. So you are learning. And as that goes in, make sure that lot is completely combined, smooth and lump free before adding in more. And it should also come back to a bubble, which it won't do when it's this thick, but the more you add in, it should be bubbling again before you do the next bit. Don't worry if the bay leaves go in at this point, but try and keep the onions out. And there you go, a smooth bechamel sauce. At this point, we'll leave our bolognese mixture to bubble away for at least an hour. This can be seasoned and taken off the heat until later when we layer up our lasagna. And there we go, after plenty of time of cooking down, that's what you're left with, rich, meaty, tomatoey juice. And now all we've got to do is layer it up, like any good lasagna. So if you can take hold of the cheese, parmesan, and grate plenty of that. And I'm going to ladle first up some of our beef mixture. The first one, just a layer, just enough to cover it. And what that'll do is stop the pasta from burning to the bottom of the base. Next up, some lasagna sheets. These are the dried ones. They fit perfectly into our dish. And then a layer of our bechamel sauce. There we go, spread out our bechamel. At this point, we want cheese all the way through this. So I'm gonna take some of this parmesan. The thing is, it looks like a lot, but the way you grate it, if you look at how much you've actually used, it's just because it's grated so fine, it's got loads of air in there. But basically, a little layer, then some mozzarella, a beautiful ball of mozzarella. Just strip it up really kind of wherever it naturally breaks. You don't want a full layer, but you want it right across the layer. Okay. So when you portion up later on, everyone gets a bit. Fresh basil, a few leaves going on here. You could use dried basil if you just got it in the cupboard, but I think if you want to do it properly,
better.
Fresh basil is the way forward. And that's it, it's as simple as that. All you need to do is exactly the same thing 3 times. So more meat, more pasta, more bechamel, more cheese.
More of everything.
Finish with a layer of cheese, and then into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes until bubbling, golden, and perfect. It smells incredible. It's a family favourite, a beef lasagna with a splash of Lea Perrins sorted.
Still one of my favourites. Oh, so good.
Super rich, and if you want the recipe, then click on the link below.